"31 years of tenure, Jim has impacted students and parents one by one over the last 31 years. He's a coach, and he's a math teacher, and most of all, he's gifted. He's gifted in the field, on the field, and in the classroom. He is the leader of the Brunswick Trust Program and helping all other young people understand it to make every generation to come even stronger. He achieved national fame in 2014 by being selected to the U.S. Olympic Committee for National Coach. Squash Magazine calls him the most interesting, most intriguing, and most influential man. He's provided over 2 national squash championships. Not 1, but 2. Now, I want anybody in the room to raise their hand who's done that. Oh, nobody else, Jim. He's had 14 New England squash championships. He personifies the highest level of character and ethical leadership, and he successfully imparted those values and that culture to thousands of young men and to their parents. The other day I was with Jim, and one of his students' parents were out of town, and so he went over and picked him up at his house and delivered him home because he was only 14 years old, didn't have a driver's license, but Jim didn't want him to miss his class, so he went over and got his student in his own car. He goes to their weddings. He maintains relationships for life with both the parents and the students. The leadership at the leading universities and colleges in the United States wait for Jim's call every year as he gives them guidance and at the same time helps position students to meet their highest potential in their next cycle of education. The selfless, humble, positive, happy genius that he is seems to always take a spark and turn it into a fire. Right now, probably words aren't adequate, but let's see if Spielberg and his troops have got a little thing to add to this embellishment so that you might further understand the power of Jim Stevens.
Beyond a doubt, squash is more than a game. It reveals the good and bad in any man's nature. The leadership and character of every man is tested, and few pass the test of time. Jim Stevens, teacher of 50-plus years and nationally recognized coach of 30 years. He guided his teams to victory in 350 matches, 13 New England Interscholastic Team Championships, and the Brunswick School's first ever High School National Championship. Voted 2014 U.S. Squash National Coach of the Year. And yet, these will not be the victories remembered. Known for staying long after everyone has left to string and regrip rackets, and lining his classroom walls with character traits to aspire to, his legacy runs deeper than a scoreboard. Success, he says, comes to the person who does the right things repeatedly and patiently. His favorite poem says it all. You may fool the world down the pathway of years and get pats on the back as you pass, but your final reward will be heartache and tears if you've cheated the guy in the glass. Coach Stevens is known throughout the squash community for impressing values of fairness, teamwork, accountability on all of his players, lessons that will reverberate throughout the generations to come. The character of excellence, honesty, and diligence he has taught will produce more in his students than anything he could win on the court. It is this dedication, not only to successful leadership, but to integrity and selflessness, that the entire Greenwich Leadership Forum is proud to recognize today. The 2016 GLF Leadership Award is awarded to Jim Stevens.
Okay, on your feet. Jim, come on up. As a parent and a grandparent and former board member of Brunswick, I can tell you that emotions run deep in my heart and every person in this room. I love you.
Thanks, Grant. Appreciate it. I don't know who Grant was talking about. I want to thank the Gregory family, GLF, for this honor. It's a very special moment for me, for sure. All the wins on athletic fields and so on don't compare to what this is all about tonight. I want to talk about Brunswick. As Grant said in 1902, Brunswick's been teaching courage, honor, and truth for over 100 years. We have a Brunswick Trust, a character continuum, which we call it now. And we teach integrity, honesty, leadership, humility. This is a tough night for me because I was taught to be humble and to have humility, and this is going to be very hard for me. Really, when you think of this award, the award really should go to the Brunswick School and the teachers at the Brunswick School. I'm just one of 150 teachers that teach character, and all the teachers at Brunswick do the same thing that I do. We try to improve the lives of students, and you wouldn't see it because you're not in the classroom, but every teacher that we have at Brunswick is unbelievable, and they do a tremendous job in teaching character. I wanted to. I'm really very grateful for the squash team coming tonight, the golf team. If those teams could please stand up, that would be great. I wanted to mention Anthony Fischetti, who's been a great friend. He and I coached together, and the values that he has, that he's imparted to all the boys, has been unbelievable, and as a role model to the boys. I'm just singling him out as one, but we have so many great teachers at Brunswick, like Anthony Fischetti. I wanted to mention my wife, Marilyn, my son Brett Stevens, who's here tonight, my daughter Kylie, my daughter-in-law Lauren Stevens. And it's a real honor for me to have them here tonight, really special. When I was growing up, my parents were tremendous role models for me. We attended First Congregational Church in Old Greenwich. And my parents believed in the church. They believed in Christian values, and they were great. All the values that I have came from my parents, for sure. I'd like to tell you a story about my dad. Several years ago, he had bone cancer, and I went down to North Carolina with him. And in the last days of his life, he was very weak, and he was lying in bed, and he whispered to me and said, "Jim, how do you get to heaven?" And I said, "Dad, I don't know. I don't know how you get to heaven." And I got down real close to him. He whispered to me, "Turn right and go straight." And he always told me he believed in the KISS principle. And I said to him, "What does that mean?" He says, "Keep it simple, Stevens." And you know, if everybody turns right and goes straight, you're going to have a great world. I want to thank Greenwich Leadership Forum for what they do for the town of Greenwich and the community. They're on the right track. In this day and age, in the world that we live in, we've forgotten about a lot of our values and our faith. And the job that Grant Gregory is doing and his board is unbelievable and a great testament to the town of Greenwich that we're on that path. And I know that Brunswick is going to continue to put character above education. I can remember when I was in school, I moved to Greenwich and to Riverside in 1948, and my parents, they never asked me about my grades. Grades weren't important. It was all about, was I respectful? Was I kind? Did I beat up my sisters? And that was basically the way we were raised. It was just all about being kind and respectful. And Greenwich Leadership Forum is doing a great job in that area. And I commend them, and I appreciate everything the Gregorys have done. Thanks so much, and thanks for all of you coming.